Welcome, welcome, welcome to the October 22nd Chesapeake Rotary Club meeting. Thank you everybody for attending. You can bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for blessing us with everybody being here today on such a beautiful day. We thank you for the bounty you've laid before us. Please nourish us, give us strength. Please help us to help those who are in need, and definitely provide us with the strength to give service above self, especially in these trying times with many folks who need our help in the city of Chesapeake. We want you to give us the strength and power to help those who need our help the most. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, Jen Bukowski, could you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Past President Grady Palmer, four-way test.
First, is it truth?
Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it be a will of better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. No Chris today to have fun or anything, but that's okay. Chuck Wilson, Sergeant at Arms.
Whoops, I forgot my mask between here and there. I'm sorry. Mistake. Okay, we have a good number of guests here today, which is great. Candy, you have a special guest.
Yeah.
There you go.
And this is for my husband here.
Oh, excited not to sit together. Gotcha. and Debbie, you have a couple of guests.
I do. No strangers. The city mayor request is here, and my mayor.
Welcome.
Welcome. And we have, well, our guest speakers as well. But, Happy Bucks. Anyone have Happy Bucks? John.
Renee, up to build that count. I just want to say I'm really happy that Lindsay brought us our first sponsor to the art show. So we are off and rolling with our thanks, Lindsay. And if anybody knows or wants to be a sponsor for the art show in the spring, please get in touch with me. We've got our sponsorship packets. I can email you and you can send out to whoever. It doesn't have to be you. It could be somebody you know or something you know. But we expect to be a huge event in the spring. So get the word out, and that's the best way we can raise money for the event alive. So thank you, Lindsay.
Well, and when Jeb heard that, he said, "Don't forget that he's in for 1,000." So, you know,
For now.
at least this month. And we have sponsor packets available. We sent to you. And any other Happy Bucks? All right, go ahead, Jonathan.
And just so everybody knows, we do have a Spring Art Festival Committee meeting tonight, 5 o'clock with Big Uglies. If there's anybody who cares to attend, definitely John, Chuck, and I will be there. But if anybody else wants to attend, please feel free. Also, on your tables, you will see that there is a sheet. This is for donations from the club. Basically to make up for the shortfall of the loss of revenue from the wine festival, basically to help us primarily with the Coast for Kids project. These were on your table last week, so anybody who did not have an opportunity to sign up last week, they're on the table for you this week as well. We will either bill you, or they'll take a check, we'll basically do anything. But we're trying to generate enough money to have the Coast for Kids project, as we usually do at this time of year. And I think we're on a good path that we're going to get to do basically what we've been doing in the past. Unfortunately, probably not expand schools this year, but hopefully we're going to be able to do what we've done to help the students in the past who are in need of these coats. Anyway, with that being said, if I could ask King Wallen to come up here and introduce our guest speaker for the day.
Our speaker today is Shawn Avery. He serves as the president and CEO of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. He came to the Workforce Council after serving as vice president of the Peninsula Council for Workforce Development. He holds a master's degree in business administration from Florida Tech and a bachelor's degree in business administration from Christopher Newport, local boy, and a certificate in studies of economic development from Tech and the University of North Carolina. He's the recipient of the Business Top 40 Under 40 in Hampton Roads Award, as well as expanding the Workforce Opportunities Award and the Chancellor's Award from the Virginia Community College System. He most recently received the Community Builders Award from Hampton Roads Community Action Program. Shawn, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me today. It's good to see a few familiar faces in the crowd. And before I get started, I do want to thank the mayor, because the reason why I'm dressed like this is Mayor West serves on my executive committee. And in April timeframe, we were having a meeting, and I had my tie on and was all dressed up. And he was like, "Why are you even dressed like that anymore?" So this is the new attire for professionalism. I appreciate that. So, but thank you for the opportunity to come out and present on workforce development and what we're doing in this region to help in the future with talent development, but really how we're dealing with COVID now and really moving forward. And so it's good to have two of my board members in the room. So Mayor West serves on my board, but so does Ron Ritter. He's on my board as well. And I've got my colleague back in the back, Steve Cook, who I'm going to point out here in a little bit and give you some heads up on how he can help out as well. So just to give you a little update on who we are. So we are the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. We represent the 8 cities and counties on South and Western Hampton Roads. So Virginia Beach all the way out to Franklin, Southampton County. For those who may have been around for a while, we used to be called Opportunity Inc. That was our name for about 20 years, and we changed about 2 years ago. And really our sole mission is to make sure we have the talent in the region to be successful. And we can't do that without partnering with business and industry and our community-based partners and education to really make that happen. So I'm going to give you a little overview of our projects today, what we do, and then kind of talk about some of the new things we've got going on, and then really offer up to answer any questions that you may have. So you do see another little logo on there on the bottom that says the Greater Peninsula Workforce Board. And the interesting thing we've got going on now is, as you can see, there's 15 workforce boards throughout the state. Go all the way out. We're all different sizes. We're all made up very differently. But in Hampton Roads, there's actually 2 workforce boards. There's mine, and then there's one on the peninsula called the Greater Peninsula Board. And that goes all the way up to Gloucester County, over to Gloucester County, all the way up to James City County, and all the peninsula localities. Well, the good thing is we're in the process now of merging. So by this time next year, actually by July 1, we'll be one organization representing all 15 cities and counties in the Hampton Roads region, which for those who've been in Hampton Roads for a long time know that that's very unusual for regional organizations to come together to work on, to work together as one thing, but actually to merge into one organization. But the reason we did that was that our board of directors on both sides of the water realized that we all are serving the same business community. There may be a business in Chesapeake, there may be one in Hampton, but their needs are around what their skill needs are. And so we really should come together to meet those needs and come up with solutions together and not really be competing. And so our board took that great step of saying, we're going to merge this together. We're not going to do this brutally, and there's no blood coming from any of the staffs. We're going to do this as a strategic vision, and it's been going on for about 3 years, and we're finally glad to say that by July 1 we'll actually come together. And it really started by developing this collaborative that we call the Southeastern Virginia Regional Workforce Collaborative, and that started about 2 years ago. And what we did was we combined a number of our divisions right off the bat. Business services. So Steve Cook in the back, right here, and Steve, runs our business services unit for the whole region. So when he goes out and his staff throughout the region goes out and talks to the business community, we're talking about solutions that can meet the needs of the whole region and working together. So that's Steve's part. Then we combined our foundation, so we're not duplicating when we do fundraising. We combined our communications plan. We combined our government affairs work. Everything you would think of that could make a region stronger, we combined together. And now it's just moved into the full-fledged merger that's going on now. So how do we do the work that we do? I call this our product line. This is how we actually deliver services throughout the region. And you see the two logos at the top. Once the merger's done, the Hampton Roads Workforce Council will be the name for the whole regional organization. I will be still leading that effort as well, and the staffs will be merged together. But each one of these programs underneath is kind of how we provide the services to our region. So we've got what we call our Virginia Career Works, which are our one-stop centers that are located throughout the region. There's including the peninsula, there are 7 one-stop centers. And that's a place where, and I'm talking a little bit pre-COVID here, where if you were looking for a job or looking for an educational opportunity, you could have gone to that center and actually got connected with one of our career developers, and we could help them through that process or provide funding to send them to an educational program. While they are technically closed to the public now, we are doing a lot virtually. We actually still do virtual appointments where you can come in and talk to somebody. It's just on a one-on-one type basis. But really everything else has gone virtual. Our career fairs, our placement activities, our connection with education, all that's being done virtually now. As I mentioned earlier, we have our whole business services team that's just focused on identifying what the employer needs are and then really taking that information and sharing it with our partners and then start developing solutions to meet those needs. We've got a great Next Gen Pathways program, which is focusing on our emerging workforce, so our youth ages 14 to 24, really connecting them up with understanding the career opportunities that are in this region and connecting them with mentorships, internships, and various activities like that. Our Career Access Network, which is located in the library systems when the libraries are open. We actually go out into all the communities and actually do the services in neighborhoods and in the community-based organizations. Have a whole division focused on our veterans and transition service members, and then we have our foundation. I'm going to delve a little deeper in each of these and give you a little stats on each area. So return on investment, this is kind of how we determine how we're doing. Again, some of these numbers are pre-COVID, so I would just say that next year if I came back out and showed you these, they would definitely be down a little bit lower just because of the sheer magnitude of what's going on and how we're having to really do services. But I have seen the new business services number, and we are actually up to 4,200 business interactions. So that means Steve's team actually working with a business or talking with a business about helping them get employees. And that can range anywhere from, let me make you a connection with an opportunity or connection with the Virginia Employment Commission, all the way to actually providing job fairs and matching services and recruitment activities. I'll give one example. We're working with Steel out of Virginia Beach right now, where we're actually doing on-site hiring, and they're doing it twice a week at our center. And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we heard this morning 40 people are getting hired at each one of those sessions. And so we're able to offer those opportunities now. We do it in a very safe manner, masks, the whole deal. But we can also provide on-the-job training opportunities. We can provide funding to do incumbent worker training. One of our great examples is Oceaneering right around the corner. We've been working with them for a number of years where we're actually providing funding to them to do on-the-job training where they'll actually take a person who's looking to get into the workforce and actually train them on the job, and we'll pay part of the salaries, all the way up to working with them on apprenticeships and recruitment events. So that's all open to you. If you're interested in any of those activities, Steve can help you work through that process. Again, we had about 42,000 visits to all of our centers in the last year, and that equates to about 15,000 individuals. It equates to about 2 to 3 visits per person, so it's a large amount of numbers. We're able to provide training dollars to about 830 individuals to actually send them back to school and pay for their full tuition. And then we also were able to get about 670 individuals certifications that actually lead to a job. Within our youth programs, we made over 12,000 youth connections last year. We were able to provide 443 individuals of actual training dollars to go through some of their programs. A very unique thing that we did with this is we've actually started using non-federal funds to start doing internships and mentorships. And I must say Chesapeake has been on the front lines with that. Chesapeake, Portsmouth, and Norfolk have helped us pilot an internship program where they actually helped us provide funding to an intern, got them a job, and then we helped them get placed afterwards. City of Chesapeake, for example, a lot of your parks and recs, even the city manager's office had some of our interns over the last year, and a number of your businesses have participated in that effort. And we're looking for new work sites. Again, COVID's really put a dent in this just because of all the COVID requirements, but hopefully once everything clears up, this will be back up and running and making things happen. Our Veterans Employment Center in Hampton Roads, is for those who've lived here a long time, there's not a lack of services for veterans or transition service members. Really what it is there's a lack of coordination of those services. It's like darts being thrown at a transition service member. It gets very confusing, and what it ends up doing, it confuses them so much that they're like, this is just too overwhelming, I'm going to go home back to my where I came from, and that's where their support mechanisms are. So all these partners around the table came together and said, listen, we've got to stop competing here. We need to work together to keep our transition service members, their spouses and their families in the region, because they're a fantastic talent for us. And so we've had our Veterans Employment Center open for about a year, 2 years, had about 5,500 visits to the center, which this actually equates to about almost 3,000 individuals, because veterans seem to be able to get in there, get what they need, and get out and get connected to the workforce. And some of the jobs that we've been able to place with these veterans have been in the $120,000 range. I mean, they've been high-level jobs. And so this center is located in Norfolk now, but we just got a $300,000 grant from Smithfield Foods, where we're going to open one on the peninsula, which should be opening here in about 6 months. In addition, we have the Veterans Career Compass. This is an online portal, and this is actually taken off, especially with COVID, in that a transition service member or a veteran can post their military transcript. An employer can post their jobs, and it makes the connection. It kind of translates their military resume into civilian speak, and then it can make the connections together. So great resource. If you're not using it and you're an employer and you're looking for individuals, connect up with Steve, and we can get you on that system. Everything I'm showing you today, too, is free of charge. So you may be paying a staffing agency or anything like that. Feel free to use our services as well. Everything, again, is free of charge. So how do we make this happen? Most of our funding before this year was federal funds. We just presented a budget this morning that actually, our federal funds are actually less than our non-federal funds for the first time since I've been in here. We're actually about 54% of our budget comes from non-federal WIOA dollars. Ron, you've been around for 20 years. That's the first time we've been able to get to that mark where it's less. What that allows us to do is put a lot of new programming in place where we don't have to worry about the red tape that may be coming down from the federal grants. And it really allows us to meet the needs of the community and not really meet the needs of something that came out of Congress, which most of the time doesn't know what's happening at the local level anyway. So what we have is also a foundation, a 501c3 foundation, and 6 years ago we ran maybe $25,000 through that foundation. It paid bills basically. Last year alone, this budget we just presented, we're about $6 million coming through the foundation or non-federal funds, and it ranges from business to localities now supporting the educational partners to you name it. As you can see here, foundations. We just brought on several new ones this past year. Again, the study doesn't even have the Smithfield Foods Foundation. It's $300,000 that we just announced. So again, that allows us to put a lot of programs in place, and if you're a business partner, that allows us to actually sit down with you and say, okay, well, your needs equal this, this, and this. We can use this fund to pay for this fund to pay for this. It allows us to be very flexible in what we do. And so one of the things, too, that we wanted to do this past year, actually last summer, was identify what the new needs are going to be in some of our key industry sectors like manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, ports, logistics, information technology, and really identify and hone in on what the skill sets are going to be, what's being produced by our school divisions and our educational partners, and really identify what the gaps are. So we brought in a consultant team. They identified what the key gaps were, what we need to be focusing on. And what we've done is we've taken that information, we're developing a new talent coalition, a whole new division of the organization that's around talent implementation. We're going to be developing, not only developing, but we are implementing now, new type of programming that's going to help us better prepare and better supply the talent that we need in the region. So we're going to be looking at talent recruitment, retention, and growth. We're looking at retention efforts around the community colleges and the four-year institution and the individuals that they're graduating. You've probably heard of the brain drain that's going on. We're trying to stop that brain drain. We're trying to keep our graduates here. So we've got a program called Campus 757 that's looking to stem that effort. We're looking at potentially external regional recruitment. So actually identifying areas that may have high pockets that we have a need in. I'll use shipbuilding, ship repair for example. Danville, I just was there yesterday visiting a training facility. They have tons of graduates out of their schools that are focused on manufacturing and skilled trades. If you've been to Danville, they've got a lot going on, but they have a surplus of individuals that are coming out of those programs. So wouldn't it be great if we could set up an external recruitment tool, have somebody go out there and recruit those individuals here, not based on a company, but based on our needs here in general for the region. Then once they get here, we can have a number of companies that kind of talk to those individuals and make their own decision. So we're looking at doing that. I will say that that's kind of been sidelined a little bit with COVID because, as you know, there's a lot of people that are unemployed now. So we want to give those opportunities to our homegrown talent first. But I can guarantee you we'll be back to 2.6% unemployment rate before you know it. And this will be back right on the table as something we do. Again, we're continuing to grow our veterans programs, our internship programs, developing training solutions ourselves, and we're even looking at setting up a for-profit division of the organization that's focused on talent solutions and staffing as well, just based on the sheer number that we have coming through our system. So I'm going to take one of these areas that we focus on. So these are kind of our seven key industry-focused areas that we look at. They're probably not surprising to you, and they're the same ones that kind of our Hampton Roads Economic Development Alliance, the Chesapeake Economic Development Department, many of our regional organizations are kind of focusing on these same areas. They're just kind of our key growth areas. Doesn't mean we're not focusing on construction, doesn't mean we're not focusing on areas that you don't see on here. It just means these are the ones we're looking at developing new solutions to. So I'm going to take one. One is maritime. What we've done in maritime is we just received about $650,000 plus grant from Go Virginia to set up a whole new talent part around maritime. We're bringing on several new positions that are going to be focused on that industry. One's going to be a employer engagement individual, where that's what they do. They wake up in the morning and they're thinking shipbuilding, ship repair, they're thinking maritime, they're thinking ports and logistics, they're thinking offshore wind and the maintenance of offshore wind when that finally gets going. And how do we solve the issues of those industries both now and in the future? And they're going to be developing talent inputs and the educational partners and the programs that we need to go in place. We'll also have a strategy and operations person associated with that, and an analyst person that will actually be looking at the data as we move forward to make sure that we're key focused. We're going to take this model and then we'll replicate it in each one of those other divisions that you saw. So we'll have one focused on healthcare, we'll have one focused on ports and logistics, we'll have one focused on information technology, and so on and so on. And then we'll partner with all the partners to make that happen. So this is happening now. We've got the grant. It's a 2-year grant, and then it'll be incorporated into our organizational structure. And again, these are just some of the efforts that we're looking at, is really delivering that system for the current and future needs, and then supporting the industries. I'm showing you the maritime piece. And then some of the other things that we're doing to support that. And again, I show you this to say that this is how we'll replicate it into other industries fairly quickly, actually. But we're looking at an inventory of all the training programs that are focused on the maritime industry. We're continuing to do continuously industry needs assessments because we know industry is constantly changing. Looking at new apprenticeships and on-the-job training opportunities, new partnerships, working with our elected officials, Go Virginia grants, and other opportunities that we can pursue. So this is kind of the models that we're going to be using going forward to deal with the talent. Just to kind of give you a little heads up on what we're doing around COVID. Again, everything that we've done since COVID started would not have been our normal operations, but like everybody else, we've completely had to change our course of how we do stuff. Everything's virtual for us now, except for how we're doing some employer events now. We're doing virtual job fairs. We're doing virtual workshops. We're doing virtual hiring events. connecting individuals with educational opportunities. We're actually looking at getting into the educational game ourselves and holding virtual training events. So anything that you may think that your business may need or your organization may need, that's kind of what we're there for. Tell us your issues, tell us your problems. I've got staff that this is what they think about every day, and we can come up with those solutions to meet your needs. We know it's a tough time. And if you also have an individual who may have been unemployed or having issues getting connected to the workforce, that's what we do as well. I'll even say if you're having issues with anybody that may have issues with the Virginia Employment Commission, being connected up with their unemployment, we know that's a big issue as well. They're subcontracting with us to do a lot of that work to help connect them up. So please reach out, and we'll be more than happy to be a resource for you or any of your family or friends. So I said I'd keep it to 10 to 15 minutes. So am I good? Good. Be happy to take any questions, comments, concerns. Yes, sir.
So how many employees do you have?
Right now we have about 42 employees pre-merger. Once the merger happens, we'll be about 60. And almost all of them are programmatic. There's very few of us in the admin division up in our admin office. So those are the ones that get out there and make things happen.
What sort of program? I mean, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need all these trades. How are you really making that connection to people?
It's a great question. So a couple ways. So we partnered with the community colleges, and again, COVID's kind of knocked some of this off. So we're coming up with a new solution. TCC, for example, Tidewater Community College, has a skilled trades program. We actually financially invest in that, and that's looking at all the trades in general, plumbing, carpentry, things like that. We've also partnered, we're looking at developing partnerships with the Tidewater Builders Association. They got a new name now. Sorry, I can't remember that. So that's some other ways we can pay for an individual to get into those trainings. So we promote those industries as, again, during COVID, most of those jobs didn't go away, if not continued. That's the same as shipbuilding. We try to, at this point in time during COVID, we're promoting those industries that stayed pretty steady during the coronavirus, because those are the ones that if we get a second or third wave like we're getting ready to go into now, it seems like they're going to still be there. So you've got a lot more stability in those efforts. So we're doing a lot of recruitment in that. On the emerging workforce side, we're actually trying to talk to individuals about, you don't need to go to college anymore. You can get a great job in the skilled trades. I mean, you can own your business. So we're showing the whole continuum of the opportunities there. It's a lot around education. When I mean education, marketing, the opportunities there. So I'd say that we do a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of different areas that we have to get into to make that successful. So
I'm trying to make connections with people so that they're finding something they really have passion for instead of, yeah, great money. Okay, I want that big money, but that might not be the right thing. How would you kind of that connection?
So a lot of that is hands-on. So it's also gosh, I'm not going to think of the right word. Showing them opportunities, actually taking them out in the field. We've done actual field trips out into the areas so that they can actually see exactly what they're doing and getting their hands on opportunities and showing them that there's opportunities there. We're actually having employers come out and talk to the individuals, so we do a lot of that at our one-stop center and at our career centers to actually talk to them about the opportunities that are available there. But again, it's changing perceptions of those industries and getting them to understand what's going on there. So
there's such a stigma of people that,
yeah,
if you don't go to college, you're never going to be it.
That's right. And that starts younger, but we also have to educate the parents. We do guidance counselor tours where we take guidance counselors out into the industry so they can see what's going on. Again, it's changing the whole mindset of certifications and those career pathways, that they're not like our parents' pathways. They may not, I mean, they've got a lot of opportunity, and you just got to show them that. You want to be one of our guest speakers at one of the events? We'd be happy to have you.
I do a podcast. It's called Blue Collar Green Pockets, and we interview people in various trades every week and encourage people to consider the trades and connect them to their passion.
I'd love to talk to you about that, because I think that's some way we can promote that through our systems as well.
And so we get thousands of views.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you more about that. See how we can connect up and support each other.
I just have a compliment for you. Rick has to be more politically correct than I am.
He
We're
does.
sorry. I can't congratulate you all enough. People in our positions see a lot of friends sit around and talk to each other and snap dumplings. And you all are very successful in your outreach and accomplishing your mission. So I think you deserve a lot of credit and we deserve as much support as we can.
Thank you very much.
Talking about that this morning, when you used to say that at the executive meeting, I made a comment that in Chesapeake, we have to know we are very quick to support and provide to pay our fair share to keep this organization strong. And it's more than just about what's good for the individual. A workforce that is available in a region is the only key ingredient to having a strong economy. Without without the kind of work that you're doing in a great way, our economy would be in worse shape than it's in right now. So I'm with Debbie. I think you're doing an awesome job and a great deed and
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
The other thing, Ron keeps talking about the Hampton schools.
Yes.
That's a message that isn't getting out, all the strides they're making. Can you tell people openly?
The academy.
Yeah, they have the academy. So what they've done in Hampton is they've taken some of their high schools, well, all of their high schools, and they've identified each high school as a certain academy. So Hampton High School is their maritime academy. Bethel High School is their healthcare academy. And so if a student wants to focus on that career area, they can basically go to that academy and be immersed into those areas. That has worked in Hampton. They've got a lot of business support for that, a lot of state support for that. I would say every school division's kind of got their own strength and things, because I know Chesapeake Public Schools is doing some great things
Well,
too.
but they seem to have multiple academies in every school.
Yes.
So it's not necessary to go to some other school.
That's right. So that's what's worked for Hampton. Whereas they'll take somebody, if you're in this neighborhood, you wouldn't have been zoned for Bethel or Hampton. You're going to go to that school for those. And Hampton, I think, is probably a little more compact. It's just a little bit easier to get those individuals there. But I will say that there's some other school divisions that have done academies within a school where they have the multiples, and it works as well too. I think you have to determine what's best for your city and what business support that you have from your schools, and really take and run with that. And not no knock on educators, but sometimes educators feel like they have the best solution for business needs, and really the best solution for business needs is what the business community needs, and so making sure that they're at the table is what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shawn. We appreciate you coming here today and speaking on this topic. Thank you very much. Just to let everybody know, next week we have Keegan Chadwick from the Virginia Aviation Military Museum coming to speak to us. Again, you've got your donation sheets on your table. If you can, give those to Renee at the end of the meeting. And if we don't have anything else for the good of Rotary, we are adjourned.